Support and resistance will be one of the most important skill sets to really master if you want to succeed or profit in the stock market consistently. But what does it even mean? How do we draw it? And even if you have drawn it, how do we actually utilize it to guide us in our entry and exit, whether to buy or to sell or to wait or what, right? Hey guys, Joey here, top tier MyZero trader in Philip Securities, and in this video we'll be talking about support and resistance, right? We'll dive into the basics, we'll cover what is it, how do we draw these lines, and after that we'll dive into some of the real life case studies and charts as I actually show you how I draw the lines, why I do it that way, and what do we actually want to do, or how do we actually interpret, right, the chart or the stock after drawing this horizontal price level, which is support and resistance, right? So if you can, guys, go ahead to give me a like. That will really help out the channel, and smash the subscribe button as well so that you will not miss out on videos like this, and that will really help out as well. All right, so let's dive into support and resistance. So they're what we call horizontal price level. For example, this red line right here is what we call a resistance level. So that is a price level whereby, you know, whenever the stock hits to that price level or even nears it, right, sellers comes back and push prices down, and it starts to retrace back down. So this is pretty much how it works, right? In the market, it might go up and down, all right? And each time it hits towards this resistance line, the red line, all right? Let me just highlight this for you, right? And that is where we have selling pressure that comes back, all right, and you know, prices start to come back down again, all right? And it doesn't mean that it will always go towards the resistance level and then, you know, touch it and come back down. Sometimes it might just near it, sometimes it might be a bit far off, like what we see over here, right? It might be a bit far off, sometimes it might go very near to it, but in any case, as it nears that zone, right, that's where selling pressure is coming back, and that could be a zone whereby you might want to, you know, take some profit off, take some money off the table, because that's where selling can come back. It might actually push back down again, all right? So that is pretty much a resistance level. What about a support level? Well, this support level will be this green line right here. Same thing, it is a price level whereby each time it hits towards this zone, right, or even near this support level, buyers are starting to come back, you know, they buy and it starts to rebound back up a little bit. So more often than not, it will not always, you know, go and touch the support line and starts to rebound from that. It might just near it, might be a bit far off, like what we see over here, right? It nears it and it starts to rebound from that level. So that is what we call a support level. So I would say 60 to 70% of the time, a stock will be what we call consolidating, right? And that's what we call a sideways consolidating. And they will be in this range between the support at the bottom and the resistance at the top. So once we see these lines, that is where it can guide us as to where are we right now in relation to the range, right? And later I'll cover more in some live case study, but that's essentially what is a support and resistance level. And we do want to take our trades in this zones which is near the support and resistance level as well. And the next thing we want to take note of would be when the stock were to breach these levels. So like, for example, we have the red line which is the resistance lines, and the green line is a support line. So if we were to breach, you know, this resistance level, for example, right over here, all right, if prices were to move up and it pump, right, it breaks the resistance level, right, then that would be a good thing, right? That is where the stock might actually start to push higher. It might push out of this sideways consolidation and push to a higher phase. And what happens is that when it breaks above this resistance level, now this resistance will turn into what we call a new support level. Does it make sense, right? So that is where when we draw these lines later, we want to focus on, you know, prices or price levels whereby if it breaks above, the resistance turn to a support level, and that's where we want to draw the line. We'll try to get the best fit line based on past prices and to see where we are right now, right? So this is what will happen, all right? Right over here, if we do see a break of a resistance, that could potentially be a new support level, and as long as we stay above this new support level, that could be a good thing for the stock to push even higher. And same thing, right? If the stock were to break down, for example, start to push down, and it breaks this support level that has been holding for like many months, just, you know, rebounded from it and, you know, push all the way back up, but finally the support gave way. It broke this support level like what we see over here, and it starts pushing lower and lower. Well, when that happens, that is where, same thing, this support will now turn into what we call a resistance level. So as long as prices were to stay below this new resistance level, then it's not so good. That's where we might push lower, especially if the trend is down. Of course, we're not talking about trend, but especially if the trend is down and we stay below this new resistance level. So support broken, it becomes resistance. that is where we can potentially see more downside. That means it has broke out of the sideways consolidation phase and now pushing even lower. All right, so that's how we want to look at support and resistance. All right, so let's dive into some live case studies and try to draw these lines and make sense of these lines. How can it actually help us to time our entry in stocks? Okay, so this is Tesla, one of those really popular US stocks, and let's see how we can draw this horizontal support and resistance lines that I've just shown you guys on the whiteboard, right? So very simple. When we are drawing these lines, we want to look at the big picture. I think most people, what they do is that they zoom in too much, right? They're looking at a very, very short time frame. So this is what we call a daily bar. So every single day there's a candlestick bar, there's an opening price, high, low, and closing price. So you have a candlestick bar. So if you try to draw a support resistance like over a few days or like 1 or 2 weeks and you enjoy it like that, then you cannot really make much sense of the data, all right? So you want to zoom out first when you're drawing this support and resistance, right? It's not like over 1 or 2 weeks, but look at maybe a year or two, or just zoom out and try to get the major lines, right? This is what we call the low-hanging fruits, whereby it's definitely not hard to miss, right? So for example, a resistance is a price level whereby each time it nears or it touches it, sellers comes back and push prices down. So where is that level, right? So you can see we can draw a price level probably right around here. Does it make sense? Right? You can see that over here, we kind of like touch it, we came back down. Look at this right here, we neared it and then we came back down. Right? So that is what we call a resistance level, and I would say, that is what we call a psychological level as well, because it is the $400 level. So when that support and resistance matches with a whole number, like the $500, the $10, the $1 is a whole number, then we want to give a little bit more weight and more meaning to it, all right? And that's where if we really were to hit to $400 again, I'm not saying that it will, but if we do hit to $400 again, do you think we could see selling pressure back there? Answer is yes, because last year we have touched like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times and neared it and came back down. So it kind of give us a price level whereby if it does hit there, it is okay to lock in some profits or take some partial profits, because that's where selling might come back. We might actually push and retrace back down from there again, right? So that is the first resistance level that we have drawn. What about another one? So going to draw, all right, so right over here, I think there could be another resistance level as well. Look at this right here. So you can see right over here, we kind of like neared it, came back down. So swing up, swing down. So it's a bit of a consolidation. We neared it, came back down. And it was also what we call a support level, right? So it's a resistance level. So as I mentioned, right, we want to focus on resistance turning support, support turning resistance level. So that would be about 320, right? Around 320. You can see a bit of resistance. When we broke up, we trade all the way up, came back down, broke the support. So resistance turns support, we broke back down, swing back up, retested this resistance level. So you can see, right, each time it breaks a resistance, it starts to push higher, resistance turns support, it breaks back down again, like what we see here. Support turned to a resistance which we retested again, right? So that's where we want to have that line around the 320 level, all right? And let's see if you can draw another line. So go for the low-hanging fruits, the one that's easy to recognize, right? You don't need to have like 10 or 20 lines, just 3 or 4 major good lines, all right? And then that's where it can help you make better decisions, right? So let's see if you can draw one more line right over here. I think that would be around here. So sometimes it might not be really beautiful, like wow, it's so beautiful that it touches, and then the other one is a support and resistance. Sometimes it might just cross up and down a little bit, right? So give it a bit of allowance, right? But when you practice enough, you more or less can see where would be the major, the best fit line to draw. So this would be what we call another line as well. Let's put this as a support level because prices is now above it. So why did I draw this line? So this would be the $220 level. You can see right over here. This is definitely a resistance level, all right? Resistance, and look at this, right? So around here as well, it is what we call a support level. A support level whereby we try to hold above it. Right over here, we kind of rebounded a few times, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And same thing when we broke down, all right? So all the way down, came back up, retested, you see, neared it again, came back down. And over here, when we broke this 220 level, you can see the upside actually happened, all right? And we actually sold back down again. So resistance, we broke, turned into a support level right over here. So that would be what we call a resistance turn support level. So that is definitely a line to have, right, around 220, right, around 220. And yeah, I think that is where we might potentially hit to, all right, or even near it before some bargain hunting can come back again. So after looking at a year or two, whereby you zoom out and draw the major lines to let you know where we are right now in terms of the past prices, right? And it gives you a bit of understanding that we are right now, right here. The previous high we have seen in like 2021 was about 400. We are seeing a bit of resistance at 320. If we hit there might be some selling that comes back. The immediate support level will be around the 220. If you hit that, some bargain hunting can come back. So just by drawing these major lines over the past 1-2 years, we get a gauge of where we are right now in terms of this support and resistance. So if you were to hit to near 220, as I mentioned, that is where some bargain hunting can come back again, and you might want to time your entry near there. But it doesn't mean that, it hits there, you can just buy straight away and it will rebound for you, right? We do want to look at certain things as well near the support level, with like some bullish candlestick price action or reversal candlestick pattern that could lead the reversal. But because you have drawn this price level, this horizontal support level based on past prices, that is where when prices were to hit to this level, you could potentially start to open your eyes and monitor to see if anything comes out, if it hits any criteria whereby a reversal can actually happen again, right? So that is how drawing this support and resistance level can help you, all right? And the next thing is that after looking at the big picture over like 1 or 2 years, what you could do also is to dive and zoom in a little bit deeper. So I like to look at the 2 or 3 years first, or maybe up to 2 years. And after drawing these major horizontal lines, that is where you can zoom in a little bit to see if there are any near-term support and resistance. But do it only after you have looked at the big picture, right? Don't do it right at the start, because if you do that, it doesn't really make sense. But now that I've drawn these 3 major lines like 400, 320, and about 220, all right, that is a bigger picture, all right, the major support and resistance over the past 1-2 years, then I could actually zoom in a little bit more, right? Maybe just to look at over the past 6 months. Let me just remove this right over here. So over the past 6 months, maybe we could have found another near-term resistance level, maybe right around here, okay? Maybe somewhere around that 280. All right, so let me just put it in red in color, because we kind of like hit it there right over here about 2 weeks back. Same thing, we touched, we came back down. You can see a bit of selling, we came back down again. So around that 280 to 320. Of course, 320 was what we have drawn previously already, all right, based on last year resistance level. But maybe a little bit of a temporary resistance near 280, all right, that's formed over the past 3 to 4 months. So that is a near-term resistance level as well that can guide you to also, right, lock in some profits if it does hit that, because that's where selling can actually come back again. So now that you have all these horizontal price level, right, this horizontal support and resistance lines, right, it can guide you on the range, right? So for example, right now, all right, Tesla could be in this range from maybe about 220, all right, 220 to about 280, right? That could be the short-term range before maybe breaking 280 to hit to 320, and it might consolidate a little bit more. But it gives us the range as to where we are right now. So now we are like 244, right, which is pretty near this 220 range, right? I mean, compared to the upper resistance level. So if it does hit to the 220, as I mentioned just now, and if we see like a little bullish candle, like what we saw over here, this is what we call something like a spinning top, right? It's pretty bullish, right? Right over here near the support, we got this little spinning top with upper and lower shadow. Let me just zoom it in for you guys right over here. And you can see the next day was a really bullish bar as the rejection happened. It pushed away from this support and it start pushing all the way back up. But now that the market has weakened, we could be making our way back down again. We might push a little bit down, maybe near towards the 220. And if we do see some bullish candles, like I mentioned around here, so there are many bullish reversal price candles that you can look at. But if we do see something right over here at 220 or near 230, as I say, sometimes it doesn't really go to 220 for you to get in, and then it starts to rebound back up. It might just near 220, and we might just get a new bullish reversal candle coming out, right? That could lead that reversal, right? But at least now that when you have this price level, this support level, it gives you a guide as to where do we want to look out, all right, for certain reversal actions, right, or some reversal candlestick actions that you could time your entry to get back in to ride the rebound. Does it make sense? All right, so that is how having these support and resistance lines on your charts can help you, right? So you know where you are right now in relation to the overall prices over the past 2 years, and in the near term over the past 2-3 months, where we right now, what is the range? Are we somewhere in the middle? So we try not to take a trade in the middle or nowhere in the middle of the range, because it can go up, it can go down. You're like, the upside reward is not so great. So we try to take it near a support level, because that's where it could rebound. And same thing for selling, as I mentioned as well. we try to take a sell position near the resistance level, or take some profit if you have a long position near that resistance level, whereby sellers are coming back. So guys, before we look at another case study, right, if you like this video so far, guys, I would appreciate you can give me a like. That will really help out the channel, and thank you so much for doing that. And also smash the subscribe button as well, right? That would be really helpful. Alright, so let's look at another case study as well as to how to draw this horizontal support and resistance level, and same thing, how can we make sense of these lines after drawing them, right? So this is SIA, Singapore Airlines, one of those really popular stocks in the Singapore market as well. And let me just go to draw these lines before I explain to you. Alright, right over here, there should be a support. So as I mentioned, when I draw these lines, I look at the big picture. I don't like just zoom in into like that, alright? I look at over the past 2 years, 2 years, alright, zoom out a little bit and try to get the, the obvious lines whereby you definitely have a resistance or support, and focus on where support turn resistance and resistance turn support. So normally when price is below the line, so a red line would be a resistance that would be above, all right, and this would be also a red line because prices are now below it. And okay, I'll explain to you why I draw that line. This is definitely a support, all right, and let's see, maybe we could have another line right over here. All right, so I think now it is attempting to break this support level. All right, so yeah, I think there we have it. All right, so I'm not go too far and draw it around here, but I think this is pretty much what we have. All right, right over here. And so why did I draw this line? So the first line would be this level called the $6. You can see $6 is what we call a psychological level as well. $5.50 to $6 since like 2021. We have been nearing this level. Maybe, okay, I think there could be another line right around here. Maybe right around here. You can see a little bit of a resistance then last year, whereby it touched. You can see it just came back down, and somewhere around here when we broke up, you can see that is where we traded at a higher range. So resistance turn support level around that 550 to 560 level, all right around here. All right, so after 550, that is where we saw this consolidation, and $6 would be that major psychological resistance level. You can see when we broke the $6 right here. So let me just zoom it in for you right over here. Resistance came back down. We were trading sideways for 3 or 4 months, right? And when we broke the $6 somewhere in May 2023, you see it started to really rally up all the way from like $6 to $8, and then sellers came back, right? So when it starts to push up like pretty fast, consolidates and push up, that's where you want to take steps to protect your profits as well, so that you don't want to just be holding on to it all the way back down again like what we're seeing right now, right? So you want to take steps to protect your profits, right? So there are certain ways you can do it. You can raise your stop loss higher, all right, as it moves up, so that in any case, if it's just to retrace back down a little bit, all right, you still get out, you still make money. All right, okay, so that is the $6. So that's where I have this line right now. All right, the $6. Later I'll explain to you, after drawing this line, what do we want to look out for, right? So I think there could be another resistance level as here, right over here. I think that would be around that $6.50. So I've drawn this line right here. You can see a couple of 1, 2, 3, 4, about 2 weeks we were consolidating below 650, and same thing when we broke up here and started to pop all the way back up to that $8, right? So as it moves up, we might not just push up every single day. So it might just up like 4 days, and then we move sideways for like 7 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, about 2 weeks, and we break again and start to push higher. All right, so that is how it works, right? It does not just go up every single day, and it is healthy to actually see some consolidation before pushing higher, right? So that is a resistance level that I've drawn, $6.50. And that would be another level that I've just drawn right over here. You can see this is a support level. So after hitting a high of $8, you can see that we will actually forming what we call lower high. So it's not so good. It shows that sellers are coming back because this is the high, it became lower. All right, so it's a high, the high, the high, it became lower. So each time it rebounds back, sellers comes back and push prices lower, and eventually we broke this support level. So I think that would be around the $7.10 mark right here. So you can see when we broke this $7.10, something like what I shown you guys right over here. So it's consolidating, all right, it's a support level, and when we break this support level, this support will now turn into a resistance level, and as long as prices will stay below, all right, this resistance level, like what we see over here, then we could push lower and lower. All right, so support turn resistance, right? Same thing here, right? So support turn resistance. So you can see we're still below this red line resistance, and it starts to push lower, consolidate, push lower, rebound a bit, but each time it rebounds, you can see sellers came back and push it back down. All right, so that is definitely a resistance level. All right, so at that point in time, when it headed towards this like 710, right? So just by drawing these lines, for example, right, if it were to hit to this level right here, and you see something like what we call a bit of a downtrend with lower highs, and it nears the support, and if it were to break this support like over here, then you want to be careful, right? You want to take some, if you have bought it, you want to have a stop loss to get out, or you could take like short position as well. But that is how having a support level drawn, right, based on these two price level, right, can guide you that the support has broken. You might want to be careful, because we are seeing like this right now. Does it make sense? All right, so that's how having a support level will help, right? I mean, drawing these lines, horizontal price levels will help. All right, and so right now you can see that it's about $6.48. So I've drawn this line right here, right? So 650 was the resistance, and now it would be the support level. So you can see right now that we are actually attempting to break this 650 support. So over the next few days, if we were to go below 650, if we were to close below 650, so now it's only like 1-2 days, right? It's like 648, but let's pretend that we were to close at 645 or 640, I mean below 650, right, over the next few days, then it's not so good. That is how we might see more downside, like what we saw over here, because the support would have broken again, and we might slowly start to head towards the next support level, which would be back to this $6, right? So $6 would be another psychological level whereby it was a resistance, turn support, and that's where we could start to think about getting in again if prices were to hit there, and we do see some reversal price action, some good bullish candlesticks. So it doesn't mean it hits to a support level like this 650 and it hits to 651, you just buy, or 652, you just buy because it hits to a support, right? Resistance, then support, it should rebound from the support, right? Not necessarily, right? It just gives you a guide that based on that previous resistance, that could be a level whereby you want to open your eyes to look for certain clues or certain direction of the trend reversing, all right, or it consolidating there, stabilizing a little bit, and we see some good bullish candles, then you want to time your entry. So it doesn't mean that it hits the support and you just buy. No, all right, that if you do that, sometimes it might break the support and might hit lower. So one way for some stability, all right, or at least some signs of the short-term trend starting to turn up. So in terms of the short-term trend, maybe I could just show it to you guys. We could pull out what we call the 20 days moving average. So you can see right here, this green line is what we call the 20 days moving average. So obviously it is still pointing down. All right, so the short-term trend is still down, even though we have hit to that support level. So only if the short-term trend has started to reverse back up and we hit to the support level, okay, great, then there could be some signs of a potential reversal. All right, so as I say, that's what we want to look out for, either some good bullish reversal candles, or at least the short-term trend starting to turn up, or both of them even better. All right, that could lead you to start to get into time your entry to ride the rebound, right? But we don't want to just buy because it hits the support, because it could just break the support like what we are seeing right now. All right, so this is pretty much what's happening right now for SIA. So we'll see over the next few days. I mean, if it does break like 650 and stay below it, then unfortunately we might see more selling pressure. As you can see, the short-term trend, this green line, 20 days moving average, is still pointing down. Alright guys, so there we have it. We have covered 2 case studies, and I hope that you have a clearer picture of how do you actually draw this horizontal support and resistance level as well. I've shown you guys the diagram. We look at case studies. I hope you're now a little bit clearer on how to draw these lines, and after drawing these lines, what you want to do with it, alright, how it can help you to time your entry and exit. And as prices were to approach these lines, what could you potentially do? If you want to find out a little bit more on the one good trend strategy, how we combine whatever we have learned into a system, into trend, and how to use it together with the trend and all that, you can attend one of our free webinars that are still running. I'll put the link below this video. Around this video, click on it to attend a free webinar to learn a bit more, and how we have a system that actually filters out stocks for us and guides us on entry and exit as well. That makes things so much more simpler and systematic, right? So attend a free webinar to learn more. I'll place the link below. Right, so thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you watching all the way here, and hit the like button if you found some value, alright, and smash the subscribe button as well if you still have not yet done so, so that you will not miss out on any videos like this. Joey here, take care.